why are they pulling all this stuff off the shelf right now? Is it concerns about livestock? Maybe. Is it possibly because there's an election coming up next year and a massive sickness would be a good distraction and might be necessary to pull off whatever they need to pull off next year? Possibly. Is it possible that what they're pulling off the shelf for your livestock might be what you are going to need for the next sickness? Possibly. Hey y'all, it's Krista from Saving Grace Homestead, and I have been wanting to talk to you all about something that came to my mind literally as I finished the last video that I posted, and I think it's been about a week now, but you know, it just takes time to actually have a moment to sit down where I'm not being pestered, and even now I'm still being pestered. I tried to find a spot where it would be quiet and nobody would find me, but you know, here they are. I'm always amazed at how other homesteaders do these YouTube videos and such where there are no kids screaming in the background, there are no kids asking for anything, no husbands needing anything, no animals shoving them out of the way or honking in the background. So I'm always amazed at that. I would love to know how y'all do that, because nope, it's not happening here. So anyway, we're gonna just push through in spite of our needy goats, huh? This is Maggie. She's my needy baby. Anyway, Maggie, behave for a minute. So literally as I finished the last video, the thought occurred to me, and I think that this may have been one of those God-inspired thoughts, but we'll see. We'll see how it plays out. As soon as I mentioned it to my husband, he was like, that was the first thing I thought of. So I'm going to share it with you. If you didn't catch my last video, I encourage you to go watch that one. It was basically about the whole controversy with certain things being removed from the shelf at your farm store. Certain things that a lot of people have relied on for their animals. And how I said it's really an opportunity, I think, for those of us who have been a little too reliant on those things on the shelf. This is an opportunity to learn how to not be dependent on those things, because there are other options that are much healthier anyway, and you would have been better off using anyway. But I know it's a whole new learning curve, and a lot of people don't take the time for that. Or they're still of the mindset that those things don't work, which, I'm sorry, catch up. If that's you, it's time to catch up. So I think that there might be even more incentive to, if you have not come away from being dependent on those things and you have not searched out other options, there might be an even more important reason for you to do so, even more important than your animals. Immediately I thought back to a few years ago with that spiky thing that everybody was catching, and the subsequent pokeroo that was pushed so heavily. And in between all of that, if you recall, there were certain medications that became unquestionable protocol, even though it was determined that, you know what, the side effects of those medications are the exact ones that we're seeing play out in the hospitals. People are going on the breathing machines and then they're dying because this medication keeps being given, and that's probably not the best one, but oh, we were going to use that no matter what. And then there was a medication that some doctors were saying, I think this is beneficial, I'm seeing good results, and the powers that be said, oh no, that's misinformation, which we all know that misinformation at this point means anything we don't want you to say, know, or believe. Has nothing to do with actual facts. And so that was misinformation, and you shouldn't listen to those doctors. And in fact, we're going to make it so that The pharmacies don't even allow you to fill a prescription, even if it's prescribed by your doctor. What was that medication? Well, at least one of those medications started with Ivor and the end of it rhymed with pectin. So if some of you recall, even if your doctor prescribed it, you couldn't get it at the pharmacy. They would just flat out refuse to fill your prescription. And if you hear noise in the background, it's just my goats playing around with fencing wire. So my apologies, but again, they have to be wherever I'm at, so you get to hear them. Those who already had animals and who already frequented farm stores and such went, okay, well, plan B, I know where I can get that stuff. I can get it over at the farm store. And the medication was by weight, so everybody freaking out about that didn't know anything about that medication and just believed what they were trying to scare you with on media. And they were trying to scare you with that because they didn't want you to take it. Why did they not want you to take it? Well, I'll let you think about that. Certainly wasn't because it was dangerous. Thank you for your input. Shh. So people figured out, hey, you know what? This stuff is by weight. I can figure out how much I weigh and I can figure out how much I'm supposed to take because I learned math before they started doing Common Core math. Okay. So anyway, I started to think, what does all this have to do with the current situation? Well, the powers that be have already stated there's a goal of being enough of us. Okay. And a lot more than has already been done. So if doctors were still willing to prescribe something they didn't want you to take the last time, and pharmacies not selling it didn't stop you from getting it because you found an alternative route, they took note. I guarantee you they took note. And I also can guarantee that, Maggie, that spiky thing was not going to be the last massive sickness. Because again, ow, don't bite me. Because again, there is a large number of us that are supposed to fulfill the elitist agenda. And for those of you who are like, oh, that's just C theory. Again, you're not keeping up. You're not keeping up, and these things have literally been said out loud, and they have literally been written down. And so you have no excuse for yourself, and I don't really care what you call me. So save your breath, save your typing, okay? So since a certain number of us are supposed to, I guarantee that there's more sicknesses coming. And I can guarantee that they took note of what some of you did to get around their obstacles the last time. And they're going to make sure that that obstacle, that option isn't available to you the next time. So why are they pulling all this stuff off the shelf right now? Is it concerns about livestock? Maybe. Is it possibly because there's an election coming up next year and a massive sickness would be a good distraction and might be necessary to pull off whatever they need to pull off next year? Possibly. Is it possible that what they're pulling off the shelf for your livestock might be what you are going to need for the next sickness? Possibly. So, if the next one that comes happens to require those type of medications that are being pulled off the shelf, and if suddenly there's a shortage of those kinds of medications at the pharmacy, or they're saying we don't want you to take them for a reason XYZ that's going to be total bull. Oh, I can go get it from my farm store. Oh no, I can't. Oh, because they had those things pulled off the shelf for our livestock. Now you can't get them. And a lot of you are sitting here talking about stocking up on those things now before they pull them off the shelf. And I think you're being short-sighted. I think you're being short-sighted because unless you learn right now how to do things without being dependent on the store shelf, they're going to find a way to get you one way or the other. They're going to find a way to remove something that you are of the understanding that you need. And this is not just for the people with livestock. This is going to affect everybody, if my suspicions are correct. Whether you have livestock or not, let this be your wake-up call. Let this be your warning. Let this be your catalyst, okay? If you have not started learning, now is your time. Now, right now is the time that you need to be learning. If I don't have certain things available medication-wise, if my family was to get any variety of sickness, what are my alternative options? What can I do from home? What do I have around me that can assist me with that? I know it's a learning curve. Fortunately, these things are just now being pulled off of the shelf in June 2023, which means you have some time, but I would start learning now. I would start asking your crunchy friends that maybe you've made fun of up to this point, go apologize and start asking what they keep on hand. Okay, because if you want to stock up on something and you're stocking up on these store shelf items, I think you're being short-sighted. I think you need to stock up on some stuff, but I think you need to stock up on some stuff that is an alternative. Okay? Some things that are less likely to be banned, removed, etc. Something to think about. Something to think about. And I think that I'll do another video here shortly of some of the things that we keep on hand, what they're good for. And so if you think that that would help you out, then put a comment below. And also, I'm not somebody who begs for likes, shares, etc. But this is one that you need to share with your friends and family, because I might be completely wrong, and in which case you just have stuff in your pantry that, or in your cabinet, that will just be helpful to you and will be healthy. And like, that's literally the worst that can happen. If there is something to my suspicion, then this is something that you and your family need to be making some arrangements for right now. So I encourage you, I'm not a fearmonger type person. I'm not somebody who's like, oh my gosh, everybody, this guy is falling, run around like crazy and be scared. No, because that does absolutely nothing. But I do think it's wise to listen to that prodding, right? To listen to the Holy Spirit when he's saying, hey, think about this, or giving you some insight, or just, those gut feelings that you get. Sometimes, yeah, you might be called something for having a suspicion, but who flippin' cares? Honestly, who flippin' cares? I've been called all sorts of things, and I literally care none whatsoever. I really don't. So prepare, think ahead, always ask why. Always ask why, because things are usually, there's usually a little bit more to things than the stated reason. There's the stated reason, right? There's the official narrative, and then there's the underlying actual motivation. So it's always good to just question that, because then it allows you to be one step ahead and to just kind of be prepared. And again, if you stock up on some alternative things and all is well, and this is really just about livestock, then like I said, the worst that can happen is now you're prepared to treat your livestock in a healthier way. You're prepared to treat you and your family in a healthier way. But if there is more to it, then you're definitely going to want to be prepared to treat your family in another way. So anyway, something to think about. Let me know if you have heard this suspicion from anybody else, or if you have had this suspicion yourself, or if it's not even something you've thought about. Let me know your thoughts. And again, this is the one video I'm going to ask you to go ahead and share. So anyway, I will talk to you in the next one.